Queen of Flannel here. Welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, I have something to share with you guys that I'm super excited about. So if you stopped by the live stream on Tuesday, you got a chance to see me work on this, but I have been, well, I can't really say behind the scenes since I live streamed some of it, but I have been working on some of my own illustrations and doing some digital drawing, and so I created this coloring page, and I am going to share it with you guys. It will be up for free on my Ko-fi page, so there will be a link down below where you can snag this. And I have also curated for you a color palette for each of the images on this this page, for the muffin, the coffee, and the waffles. And I'm going to be working in with the with my Copic markers today, but there is also a matching Ohuhu color palette. If you have the Ohuhus, you can use those to follow along. I think I did a pretty good job color matching these up. So hopefully it shouldn't be too big of a variation between them. Both of these will be over on the Ko-fi for you guys. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I have my color palette on largely on my my page here already, but I'm going to keep this off to the side just in case I need to reference it. So the goal of this for today is to be quick. I want to take no more than maybe 10 or 12 minutes per image. I call this, you know, quick and dirty urban coloring. If you're familiar with, you know, like urban sketching, it's really loose, it's really quick. You're not focused on like all of the technical aspects. You just go. So I'm gonna start with the waffles down here, and I'm gonna try my best to at least get the caps in here for you guys, in case I forget to let you know what specific color that I'm working with, because as I start going, that might happen. So first I'm going to start with the YR24, and this is kind of like my base waffle color. And you'll notice I'm not like super, let me get us in here a little closer. I'm not super focused on filling all of the white of the paper. I'm really just trying to block in my colors. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited about this. If this is something that you guys enjoy, I can definitely work on more of these. It kind of started, you know, I really enjoy coloring food, but that doesn't seem to be a subject that a lot of, you know, coloring book artists and illustrators out there really seem to draw a whole lot. So I figured, why not make some of my own images? And it's kind of combining you know, the digital art and the traditional art, because I do love using my markers, but for whatever reason, not that I can't draw on paper, I just I don't know, there's just something interesting and fun about using the iPad to draw. So I am putting a little bit of the YR24, the pale sepia, underneath the syrup, just a little here, and it will smooth it out because I kind of want some of that tone color of the waffle to show through the syrup. So I am being kind of messy and loose with this. It's definitely one of those things where you kind of have to shut your brain off and just trust the process. I promise it will look better in the end. And I'm trying to keep an eye on the clock because, like I said, I want to try and keep this to maybe 10 or so minutes per image. And I also specifically chose a limited color palette for this, partially to challenge myself because a lot of times I end up with so many markers on my desk that it gets a little crazy. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with the E35. This is chamois, and this is my syrup color. And so I'm just gonna apply this over the top of my waffles here, and I am going to try and leave some of the paper showing through as my highlight rather than go in at the end and add things back, which you absolutely can do. So this is supposed to be a big blob of butter here up at the top, so. And it is totally okay if we get a little bit of this outside of what I have here for my line work. And we can also just use the same marker to layer up our values here. Okay, So now I'm going to switch over to the YR27. This is Tuscan Orange. And this I'm just going to kind of use up around some of these, like the shade lines, the accents around the corners, just to kind of give it that like cooked look, and just some of the areas where it would be a little darker shadowed between the waffles here. And I'm just kind of, you know, because I want to keep the texture of the waffles. So I'm kind of, you know, just pouncing the marker around here. I'm not being too precious with my blending. And we can add a little bit up here in the syrupy areas. And you can really just, you know, put this anywhere that you would like. It really is neat though to see like your own, something that you drew come to life. So I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with the, this is E18, this is the copper. And I'm just going to add some darker areas to my syrup. And to these little like crevices up here. So you can absolutely take more time with this if that's how you want to roll. This is just a different style. If you want to blend this all out, have at it. So now I'm gonna just real quick This is E53 raw silk, and this is just to give a little bit of color to our butter. I'm not going to color the whole thing in. I'm just going to add some indication that it is colored. And then I'm just going to add a little bit around the edges. And I am happy with that. Real quick, I'm going to bounce back to my E35, my ShamWow, and color in my little syrup blobs at the bottom. Hit it with the copper. Okay, and now I'm going to grab my warm gray 3 and add some cast shadow on the plate. And then down here on our fork, and actually I'm gonna stick with the 3 here, and then just a little bit underneath the plate. And underneath the fork. Okay, so we are done with our waffles. And now we are going to move on to our croissant. Okay, so I am going to start with our croissant, and I am pretty much going to use the same color combination, or 3 of the same colors on the waffles that I did for the croissant that I used on the waffles. So first I'm going to take the YR24, this is the pale sepia, and give it a base color. And I forgot to mention, the paper that I am using is the Express It blending card. I will link to it down below. It is not a cheap paper, and I was able to get a big pack of it like forever ago, which apparently they don't sell the large packs anymore. Okay, so we finished our base color with our croissant, and I had to temporarily stop the video and recharge all of my batteries for my camera. So we're going to jump back into this, and our next color is the YR27 Tuscan Orange, and I'm going to put this in these little, like, so if you look at a croissant, it's like the little, like, I don't know what to call them, little flaps of dough. Kind of go over the top of it. So we're going to use the Tuscan Orange on little pieces of bread and then around the corners. And I'm just kind of picking some spots where I want some texture so it doesn't look so uniform. And there's really no, like, rhyme or reason to this. You can do it however you want. Okay. And then I am going to use the E18. This is the copper. Just to kind of add a little dimension to the edges of the little little flappies. Okay, so I think I'm happy with our croissant. So next I am going to pull out the dull ivory, and I'm going to use this in mostly around the edges, just because I don't want it like completely white. But to just kind of give a little bit of a hint at color. And I'm just kind of, I want like a circle of highlight. But also I don't want it like super uniform. And so if I didn't say this is the E43, this is the dull ivory. I'll let that dry and move down to the bottom and do the same kind of technique. And then I probably will just quickly come back up to the top portion, but I'm going to let it dry first just so I can see how it looks. And then for the middle here, I'm going to grab for the label here, I'm going to grab the E18, the copper, So for this, I am going to largely just, well, I mean, I am going to pretty much just use the copper on this, and then I'm going to darken the edges with the same brown. I didn't pick out a darker brown, and since I've already curated the palette, I don't want to bring in another color, which is fine, because I can just use the brown, the one brown that I picked, the dark brown. Okay, I'm going to give that a minute to dry, and then I'm going to start working on our little label in the middle to add some color. So this is the BG45, this is the Nile blue. And now I'm going to come in and use, this is B49, this is the duck blue. And really this is just to add some depth to a couple of these the edges. Okay, so we're going to leave that like that. I'm going to move back to the copper. And now I'm going to move on to the lid. And actually, I think I might use some of the gray on... Okay, before I move into the lid, so I've got the warm gray 01, and I'm actually just going to use this to kind of smooth out. Hopefully this works, because I didn't test this out. It's a little funky, but we'll see what it looks like when it dries. So for the lid, I'm just going to use some of my my shade areas that I've already created here with my line work, and just add the gray in here again to give it some hint of color, but I'm not going to color the whole thing, and use the paper as a highlight. I'm going to use now the warm gray 3, and just in some smaller areas on here. And up under the lid. Okay, and now I'm gonna come in with the warm gray 3 and add a bit of a cast shadow between the ground and our croissant in our cup. So if I had picked additional colors, I probably would have come back in with a next step up, maybe a warm gray 05, just even closer to the cup, and maybe a little bit up here, but I didn't do that. So let me just hit a couple of these areas real quick. Okay, cool. I am happy with this. So we are going to move on to our muffin, and I've got 4 colors picked for this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and color my blueberry pieces, and I'm gonna take the purple slightly outside of the line work. So you know how, like, when you make or buy like blueberry muffins, and the juice in the blueberries kind of like spreads out into the batter for the muffin. So I want a little bit of that purple to come outside of the line work into our muffin. And this is the BV17 deep reddish blue. And since I have it in my hand, I am going to color our blueberries down here. And I'm going to have to be super mindful of... So this was one of my markers that I was having issues with. And I can see now it's going to cause me issues. I think this was one that I had to refill, and it may have actually ended up being overfilled. Okay, so hopefully that is enough of the BB17. So next I am going to grab my EV43. This is the dull ivory, and I'm just going to kind of speckle this in around some of this line work up here. I kind of wanted it to look like it had that like crumble topping on it. So I'm going to do this to about the halfway point. And then I'm going to grab my E35, which is the chamois, and fill in some of this white. And I want to be mindful here to keep this like texture. So I don't want to like scrub the this E35 into the dull ivory, because otherwise it'll like blend it out and I'll lose my my texture. So I want it to fill in a lot of like this white in between, but also we're going to go on top of the dull ivory. So it looks like it kind of intermixes there. Okay, and now that we are down past where the topping would be, I am going to be a little more liberal with the E35, and I'm still leaving some white space for right now. Okay, so now I'm going to come back in with the E43, the dull ivory. Just fill in a couple gaps. And now I'm going to come in with the E18, the copper. And I'm going to put this down around the bottom, around the wrapper. And a little bit along the edges where it would get a little crispier. So up here near the top. And again, we want it to look illustrative, but also kind of like natural. So we don't want to like get rid of all of our texture. So rather than pull the marker to blend things out, I'm gently layering my marker on top of each other. So I'm just kind of dotting this around. Just randomly. Okay, so we're going to move down to the wrapper now, and I'm going to start with my lightest color. So I'm going to use the dull ivory. This is the E43. And now I'm going to come in with the chamois, the E35. And I'm just going to add some lines in here. Okay, and now I'm going to come in with the E18, the copper. I'm gonna have to turn this real quick. I apologize. It's just really difficult to draw like towards myself. It's easier to draw from side to side. Okay, I'm gonna give that a minute to dry, and I'm gonna try this. I don't think this is dark enough, but since my marker got a little too juicy here, yeah, I would have to go in with a darker gray, but I'm gonna try something here in just a minute. So this is the warm gray 3, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of this under my blueberries for some shadow, and under a muffin. I'm gonna try this. Okay, that's actually not completely horrible. Okay, so what I did there, just to add some shadow back onto my blueberries, was I took the E18, the copper, and just used that to add a little definition on there. And I'm gonna try and come back in with a little bit more of the B17 that we used originally. And I'm actually going to take some of the copper and just add a little bit onto the blueberries. And then I'm going to hit it again with the BB17. There we go. Let me zoom out and show you guys what we are working with. So that's it. I did take a little longer than the 10 minutes that I said I was going to take on each one of these, but that's okay because I'm pleased with the way they came out. I think they have a really like gritty, like urban-y texture to them. Yeah, it was just fun to just sit and color and kind of, you know, turn my brain off while I did this. So again, these are free up on my Ko-fi page. Link will be in the description. So you guys can print this out on whatever paper you like. You can use whatever supplies you have. You can color it however you want. You can use my color palette, your own color palette, pencils, markers. If you do decide to use it and post it anywhere, it would be great if you could share it. You can tag me over on Instagram. The little button will pop up down below. I am at Queen of Flannel over on the gram. And yeah, so this will be free for you guys. If, like I said, I'd love to see you guys use it. Yeah, so if you like this, if you want me to do more like this, let me know in the comments, and it would mean the world if you would hit the bell, like, sub, so you get notified when I post future content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much.